if you're able to, I guess, manage your stress and manage the way in which you behave and react to things, does that sort of, do you sort of level to a neutral state of mind? Like, is there something in between the flight or flight?
No.
Oh, well, now I'm going to eat more because, oh no.
Again, in my experience, what I've been through, and also, like going to group therapy and understanding other people's perspectives that were in a very similar situation than I was, hearing from a bunch of doctors that I've, at least in this country, I've seen like 7 or 8 doctors, different ones, different approaches, holistic ones, like everything. Okay. I feel like there is a moment that you realize how your brain works, and I feel like I'm there, where you potentially know your triggers, right? Ideally, you need to start learning about your triggers, like what would trigger you in a specific situation with specific persons, people. So that's a really good way of like trying to understand, where your feelings are coming from, and try to a little bit like taking a breather, right?
I like that.
So in my case, I have a bunch of triggers that I haven't even like started to understand why, but I know I know what they are.
You're aware of them.
Yes, you're aware. So first of all, like going back to basis, right? Like getting to know yourself.
I'm telling y'all, we've talked about this, I know, with Vanessa.
Yeah.
This idea of like, what's your perspective? I would love to know what your perspective about, like, why is knowing yourself so important?
Yeah, and then starting with that, like even when you don't feel like you need therapy, when you don't feel like you have trauma, even when you feel like you're an okay person, navigating just awesome in the world, everybody has triggers. Everybody has a little bit of something, that make you go a little bit nuts. Right? Or make you lose your stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes, people call it patience. I'm not patient enough, right? I'm not. Sometimes I call it that. But it's just that. It's like triggering things around you that make you feel super uncomfortable. So just understanding that will help you with a partner, for example, right? Like when you're on an everyday basis, sharing everything, their triggers are this, and that. Yeah. It could be big, it could be small, but if you know them, you can alert other people, right? Like, hey, this is me. Like, I don't want you doing this, and that. It could be little in the kitchen, or it could be huge as a communication style, like.
It's funny you say that, because Anna and I, because I've been through therapy, I'm very open about that, and I think identifying those triggers is part of the process of getting to know yourself and understand why do you behave a certain way? What is it that trigger? And so oftentimes, like, as we're in a relationship, I think that's a very important thing if you're in a relationship is we are very communicative about, like, hey, this is a trigger for me. This is how it makes me feel. This is why. Yeah. Maybe could you approach it this way? And I think it really helps to just deepen the relationship and get to know each other and at the end of the day, like, help each other out through that stuff. And I think that also applies for friendships, right? Coworkers, anything. Actually, now that I think about it, it's like being open,
especially with your family, right? There comes a point where you grow up, when you really grow up, right? And you're your own person, and you feel like you're your own person. Then you go back to your nuclear family, and they still treat you like a child. They treat you certain ways. You need to help them also. I feel you need to help them also understand what person you are right now. Who you grew up to be, if they have issues, getting there.
Okay, now being Latinas though.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna tell you. It's like, to be honest, because, like I said earlier, like, parents, like, don't talk about your feelings, don't talk about therapy. Like, how have you navigated doing that? Being Latina in a home where it's like people have preconceived notions about therapy and your feelings and all that stuff. So how have you navigated having to, put your boundaries and show, like, express this stuff to them? How has it been for you?
I feel like when you come from a neutral way, as neutral as you can be, not getting to the point where you're upset or angry or yelling at them. Like, I feel like tone in general helps, communicating with your family. So, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form perfect with my family. I still have a lot of things to, like, to work out. But whenever I try to approach a difficult issues with my mom or my dad, it's like, I'm a grown-up person. I'm an adult, and this is how I feel, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it does.
sometimes you do even have a tone of voice with your family, right? With your mom or with your dad, or a personality that you are this little person in that nuclear. You see yourself as this little person in this.
Well, think about it.
Against your dad or your mom,
dude,
right?
think about it. Like, these people, I just had this epiphany right now. I'm like, I think why it's like the hardest with family is because they've known you since you like literally were a baby, like a baby, a child.
Yeah, but people evolve.
But
People
I
grow
don't.
up.
But it's hard for people to see that.
Yeah.
That you're
especially
not
your
that,
mom and your dad.
especially when it comes to your parents. It's like you're not, and it's like, no, I'm an adult and I have my own thoughts and feelings, and you know.
Yeah. So that for starters, right? Like you might have different type of approaches to talk to your family in like a more fun way, more like formal way, in a dinner. I mean, there's so many methods, ways that you can communicate with your family, but I feel like fundamentally your tone and how your energy, right? Try to go and meditate first, try to go and or drink a glass of wine if you need to, try to come in as calm as, yes, assertive, but calm, peace. I'm here to make peace. I'm not here to fight with you. I'm not here to challenge you in any way. I'm just here as me to be transparent and to say, I want peace. I want you to know me, right? And that's fair for your family too. Like they need that from you. It's not all on them to just understand, you've grown up and you're your own person.
Right. You have to be active, an active participant in that. Evolution.
Like any relationship, it's like two ways, right? Yeah. So sometimes we also expect a lot from our parents. Expect them to be,
Yeah, but they're human too.
Exactly.
They have their own stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. With therapy, I think what I hear a lot is that I feel like sometimes they can go an extreme. It can be like, I don't think that works, or it's like, this better work. Like, are they going to give me the answers? And then again, my perspective has always been, well, just like you said right now, you also have to be an active participant in the process. Like, a therapist is going to maybe help you open up, uncover things that you yourself have been putting off or whatever. But what's your opinion when it comes to people saying that kind of stuff when it comes to therapy?
I'll say it's flexible. I'm not, I feel like people need to find their own ways into it, and I'm very respectful to that. Some people might be, more cynical about it, and maybe they need to go find different ways of therapy. For me, therapy could also be sports. Could be painting, could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific type of therapy with a doctor.
Okay.
I will recommend that because, these people have studied that for years. Right. They know what they're doing. They know the tools. But it could be reading. It could be reading. Like, if you're really interested and you kind of know what your issue is, or, what you're struggling with, just go ahead and read. There's a lot of good books out there that could guide you through the process, or at least give you a different perspective. But again, I'm if somebody else finds other type of therapy, like music or sports, in my case, like I love doing any type of sport. I think that's valid too, and that brings you a different type of peace of mind.
Can you walk us through what the sports did for you?
For me, my whole life sports has been where I go and recoup, and distress and get my new energy and be social, and in that environment. So always, since I was little, for me it's like team sports. Where I have a challenge and I get a little bit competitive, but then I'm also sharing with people, and we're all working towards the same goal, and at the end, and there's a result, right? Like the game's over, we win, either we win and we lose, whatever. But that process, that structure gives me clarity, right? It's like gives me the sense of I'm starting something, I'm having fun, and then I'm done with it, and I did it, right? And then check. I feel productive, I feel new, and I have fun. So,
and then I like that idea of like the team, like interacting with other people, and just getting that genuine, like, hey, we're united in this one goal.
One goal, exactly.
And it doesn't have to be anything. It's not some crazy goal. It's just like fun. It's like just a game. Yeah. I was thinking, Anna. We went and we had a get together with some friends, and we always do games. And as you were describing it right now, I was like, oh my god, like. Even just playing something really silly, and but even with a team of 4 people, and we're like, hey, like this unity between each other. It's like, oh, that's it is a very unique, like, nice feeling.
Yeah, and it takes your mind out of whatever problem. Mm-hmm. It really gives you perspective, and just it's good memories, right? Like you're stuffing your brain with good memories and good times. So I used to do that all the time with my friends back home in Peru. And, we used to play Pictionary every other weekend or something, and it got competitive. And we had teams. And, no, it was amazing. But that was, to me, that was therapy, right? So
I like that.
There's a lot of ways that you can really release and recoup at the same time. So I feel like that's going back to get to know yourself, right? Like try different things and be open to any type of experiences, because if that experience will make you feel good, that you can take it as part of your therapy, and you don't necessarily have to feel like you need to have an appointment with a doctor and go to this, office and sit there, and you can be more active about your mental health that way.
I love that. Okay, those are good. I'm like, what am I gonna sign up for? I'm all soft.
Well, you helped me a lot with that.
What do you mean?
When I first started, feeling like, oh man, I need to be social, and you were like, yeah, there's this meetup groups, and you can go online and do this and do that. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So,
yes, Meetup is that's true. It's a great resource for that. That's where I met Anna too.
Exactly.
Yeah, Meetup is a great, a good one to note.